What's going on, Tesla owners? Rob here, and I'm here to tell you about the most beautiful thing that has come out with the latest update, 2019 12.1.2, and that is the ability to remote desktop to a server from your Tesla browser. And this is going to allow us to essentially put a computer in our Tesla. So whether you want to stream Spotify and interact with the actual desktop GUI on your Tesla tablet, or binge watch Netflix while you're supercharging, this guide in 30 minutes or less will allow you to do both of those things. So if you'd like, feel free to head over to teslaspot.com, that's tslaspot.com, and use the accompanying web guide that walks you through with screenshots, step by step, everything we're going to cover in this video. From setting up hosting, which will enable us to have an always-on dedicated server in the cloud, actually configuring that server, installing all the apps we want, productivity, whether it be Slack, Microsoft Teams, Skype, WebEx, you name it. Configuring our Tesla is a touchscreen, so we want to make sure that our server can play nicely with the Tesla touchscreen. And finally, we'll jump into the driver's seat and get comfortable with actually interacting with the Tesla remote computer interface, because it is a bit different. But the learning curve is super small, and you're going to love having a computer at your fingertips. So let's get started. Let's kick off this tutorial by going to tslaspot.com/p. And this is going to direct you to a really awesome set of virtual private servers that are dirt cheap for the specs that they provide you. So I highly recommend this service. And we're going to be configuring the T40 server, which comes with 4 CPU cores, 4 gigs of RAM, and 40 gigabytes of solid state storage. Not to mention 1,000 terabytes of bandwidth per month. So pretty insane. The cost is $14.99 a month. And the only thing we need to change here is our location. So just pick whichever is closest to you. And then we're going to be using Windows Server 2016 Standard 64-bit Evaluation Edition. And this is going to come with a 180-day trial free of cost. So once that trial is up, we'll just come back in here and spin up our virtual machine once again. And like you'll see, it takes little to no effort. I would say this whole process is around 30 minutes to complete. So if you're a new customer, go ahead and enter all of your details and go through the checkout process. I'm already an existing customer, so I'm just going to go ahead and log in now so I could check out and spin up my server. Check out. And you may be prompted to press next on this screen here. So just watch out for that button if it pops up. All right, so once your transaction is complete, you're going to see a message to go to your client area. So go ahead and click that link there in blue. And this is going to direct you right to all the products that you currently have running within this service. So as you can see, I currently have one active product, the T40 Cloud VPS. So I'm just going to move my cursor and click on that server. Currently, it's still in an offline state, and it's obviously still coming up because we literally just purchased this. So go ahead and just keep refreshing this page every few minutes until you see the online status show up. Once you do, click VNC and then the HTML VNC option. This is essentially plugging in a monitor to your server. All right, so the first thing we need to do now is log into our server. And we have to do a press Control-Alt-Delete. So just come up to the top here and press the Send Control-Alt-Delete button. And now we're going to be logging in with our administrator password. And this is going to be found right under the Additional Information tab, right there. So go ahead and write that down. And just be cognizant that some of these letters and numbers might look a little funky. So you might get your password wrong on the first couple attempts. For example, this is actually an uppercase I, not a lowercase l. So it might be a bit confusing. But at any rate, go ahead and try to type in your password now. All right. Mine worked in the first shot. Awesome. So now we have to wait a couple of minutes for the initial boot up of our operating system to take place. And we'll know it's complete once the server manager screen shows up. So I'm just going to go ahead and fast forward the video. If this network prompt pops up, just click yes. All right, so the next thing we need to do now is click on the local server menu item. And now we're just going to double check to make sure that the Internet Explorer Enhanced Security is currently being disabled. And that's because we're not able to access anything on the internet via our browser if this is currently enabled. So you'll see IE Enhanced Security Configuration. We'll click that. And we're just going to go ahead and set these both to off and hit OK. And yours might already be off by default, but just go ahead and make sure that they are in fact off. We can now close out of this local server. All right, the next step is to change our password so we don't have to type that long string of text and numbers. So come on down to the search icon and just search for change pass, and it should pop right up here. So click change your password. Click change. And now we're going to be typing in that long administrator password that we just typed in to log into the system. Click next. And set your new password. I'm not going to provide a hint. Click next. And finish. Now that that's complete, we can just close out of these windows. And we're going to be opening up Internet Explorer. And I'm sorry, Internet Explorer, but we're just going to be using you to download Google Chrome. So I'm just going to not use any of these recommended settings because it's going to just slow things down. Google.com. Download Google Chrome. Download now. Just going to uncheck that box and accept. Select Run to kick off the installer. And it's saying Chrome setup could not be downloaded. Let's just go ahead and retry. Now it looks like it's working. All right, so when the Chrome install completes, it should automatically open up the Chrome browser for you. So now we can close out of Internet Explorer. And now let's go ahead and do a search within Chrome for Chrome remote desktop. I'll just click on this top link. And now I'm going to click Add to Chrome. Add the app. And to finalize this installation of the Chrome Remote Desktop client onto our computer, we're going to have to sign in and actually link the Remote Desktop software with our Gmail account. Now we can see that there's the Chrome Remote Desktop icon within our Chrome Apps tab. We'll just launch that app. And now you can see it's prompting us to sign in. I'll turn on sync. And now down here, if we click on the Google Remote Desktop app, we are now asked to authorize permissioning for this device. Click continue. And now under the My Computer section, click Get Started. Click Enable Remote Connections. And now we're going to accept and install the client installer. And we'll have this open up within the Google Chrome app. Okay. So now that download will kick off, which is the Remote Desktop client. It's going to save to our Downloads folder by default. Click Save. And as soon as that download completes, just going to go ahead and click on that file and run. Come on back down to the Chrome Remote Desktop app. And now we're going to see the option to create a pin. So go ahead and create one now. And this is going to be the pin that we enter whenever we connect to our remote machine, the one we're connected to right now, from a different device. For example, your Tesla. And Google's reminding us to set our power settings so our computer doesn't shut off automatically. And we'll get into that in a little bit. Click OK. And just for simplicity's sake, I'm going to rename this computer just to be Tesla. And that's going to show up on my actual Tesla now when I go to the Chrome Remote Desktop website to connect to this machine. You can go ahead and close out of that window. So now we can go ahead and install Spotify. Spotify.com. And download the Spotify installer file. Run that installer. And at this point in the video, you can go ahead and install any app you want, whether it be Slack, Microsoft Teams, Outlook, Skype, Dropbox, you name it. You can pretty much install anything on this machine other than some games that require ridiculous computer specs. But this is going to be your Tesla's computer. So anything you put on this computer, you could run from your Tesla. So now we can see from the Spotify login page. So I'll just log in now with my Spotify account. Remember me and log in. So now if I were to run out to my Tesla and remotely connect to the server, I would see everything we're seeing right now, which is a full-blown desktop version of Spotify. I could search for any song I'd like to or artist, and also play any of the songs that are in my library. Albums, artists, you name it. If you're familiar with Spotify, obviously you understand all of this. And one thing I do want to mention is if you come up to the little menu option here, go to View, and if you have a Facebook account connected or any sort of friends attached to your Spotify account, just remove the friend activity window, and that's going to free up that right-hand side of the screen here, because you really want to show as much of this screen as possible on your Tesla display. You don't want it cluttered with random friends activity. You're really just using Spotify to play and listen to music. So I'll go ahead and minimize this for now. And I'll close out of Chrome. And the next step is to make our server more Tesla friendly. And what I mean by that is to have applications that are immediately available for you to click on. For example, on the taskbar. In order to do that, just come on over to your Windows icon and then just right click on the apps you want to pin to your start menu. And I'll just right click again, more, and pin that to taskbar. I'd also recommend pinning the on-screen keyboard. So I'll just do a search for on-screen. I'll right click, pin to start, pin to taskbar. And now anytime we want to bring up a keyboard, we'll just run this app from our taskbar. And we have this big keyboard that just shows up. And when we're done using the keyboard, we can just hide it by closing it out. When you log in with your Tesla, because it will detect that you're logging in with the tablet device, you're going to see a little keyboard icon right to the left of the clock. It's a little tough to click sometimes, but you'll get the hang of it. And when you click that icon, it's going to show a little keyboard that you can immediately type text on, similar to the on-screen keyboard. But I like to have this one here just in case. All right, next, let's adjust our screen settings. And this is going to be the resolution that's going to fit onto our Tesla screen best. So right click on the background and choose Display Settings. Click Advanced Display Settings. And you can see we're currently at the 1024 by 768 resolution. Let's bump that up to 1280 by 1024. Click Apply. And depending upon the size of your monitor that you're currently using, you might not be able to see the bottom part of your screen. So if that's the case, I just go ahead and revert those changes and stick with the 1024 until you're actually ready to make this server Tesla ready. So at that point, you basically reset your resolution to where it doesn't fit your screen perfectly on your current monitor, but it'll work great on your Tesla. So because this fits my screen currently, I'm going to leave it. And one other tip is the clear type text. When you click this, it's going to give you the option of picking how text displays on your current screen. Click Next. And now you can choose between 5 different examples of which of these boxes represent the most clear text to you. So I'll just quickly go through this. All right, so you're basically just training your server to display text in a certain way where it's most easily read by you. So we'll click Finish. And now I'm just going to hit the little back button here. Click on the Power and Sleep option. We do not want our screen to go dark after 10 minutes. So we'll just scroll down to the bottom of this list and choose Never. We're not paying for the power. It's out there on a server farm, so I don't really care if it's plugged in and always turned on. I'm okay with that. All right, so I'm just going to close out of these settings. And one more app that I want to pin down here is Google Chrome. So I'll just right click, pin to start, right click, more, and also throw that in the taskbar there. Remove Internet Explorer. I'm not going to be using that one. And I probably don't need my downloads folder there. All right. Looking good. So the next step is to actually go to your Tesla and log in. All right, so here we are in the Tesla. And now go ahead and open up your browser and navigate to remote-desktop.google.com/access. And do keep in mind that you need to have at least firmware version 2019.12.1.2 installed in order for this to work. Go ahead and sign in with your Google account. And this will be the same one that you used on the server machine to set up your remote desktop. Okay, so once you sign in, you'll see your Tesla device, or whatever you decided to call it. Click that device. So it's asking us for the PIN that we set up. And also make sure to check that box to remember that PIN. Otherwise, you can't quickly jump in and out of this machine. Once your PIN has been accepted, you'll see the Tesla keyboard pops up. Just go ahead and hit the top of the screen, right where you see the satellite map, and that'll get rid of it. We are logged into our server. This is actually a computer out on the cloud. Now, if we hit our Windows icon and decide to restart this machine, let's say, for example, we're just walking into our Tesla and there was an update that happened overnight that caused our server to automatically reboot without us manually telling it to restart itself. I'm now going to simulate what that process is like. So as this server boots up, we'll have to send a Control-Alt-Delete, which we didn't have to do that first time. Just going to give it a couple of minutes for this machine to come back online. Okay, so once you click on your remote machine to reconnect, you'll see this little blue tab to the right of your screen there. Go ahead and give that a click, and it'll pop out additional remote desktop options you have. One of them being send Control-Alt-Delete. All right, so as you can see, we're currently using the Tesla keyboard, and it does not work as seamlessly as we'd like it to. You see I'm hitting the backspace there and nothing's happening on screen. So I'd recommend not using the Tesla keyboard at all, and rather using the built-in keyboard there from the bottom right accessibility option. Once you turn that on, a keyboard will show up on your screen. Go ahead and select the field you want to enter text into, and then just start tapping away at those keys. As soon as you log in, the keyboard will disappear, and now we'll go through the normal boot up process. So that will be required, the sending of the Control-Alt-Delete via that blue pane, if your computer ever restarts itself. Not a big deal, you can get it back online in a couple of seconds. But just so you're aware, if you're ever greeted with that screen where you have to type in your admin password, that's how you get the Control-Alt-Delete to actually hit your server. And I like to keep my machine relatively light, so I always make sure to just close down the server manager. I don't really care what's going on from a server management perspective, so I'll close that just so it doesn't take up any additional memory on my computer. And I'll always make sure that I have Spotify open so I can quickly just jump into my remote machine and control Spotify from there. So now that the server manager is loaded, I'm just going to close that by pressing the little X at the top of the screen. That app is closed, and we saw that Spotify booted up on its own. And there's also the option to have Spotify boot up in its maximized format. So I just checked that option. So next time this computer restarts, Spotify will not only open, but it'll also take the frontmost spot on my screen. And now we can see how quick and easy it is to interact with Spotify. Pretty responsive. And let's walk through a couple of scenarios. One where we actually use Spotify live on our Tesla, and another where we're actually streaming video content from Netflix. Okay, so now I'm going to open up our browser, log into the Tesla remote machine. gonna hide the Tesla keyboard, and as you can see, I'm currently playing music on Spotify, and it's playing through my phone, and I'm able to control all the inputs directly from this screen. So I'm gonna click into my songs, and now change the song that's currently playing. So I'll slide through this list, and I'll just try this one right here. It takes a couple of seconds initially to understand that we're now controlling via this device, and you can see almost instantly now when we click on songs, they pop right up and become available to our Tesla. You can also search. So let's say I want to search for a song. I'll just click on that top field to search, bring up my keyboard, and just start typing out artist names or songs. Once you find the artist you're looking for, click on the top result, and now you're looking at the exact page you'd see in Spotify. We can close out the keyboard, and now I'm switching to a brand new artist, looking at their artist page, and clicking through their catalog. It's that easy. And as you can see, if we pull up other menu items, the browser usually stays connected. However, if it's fully minimized, the connection often does get lost. But as you can see, I can quickly reconnect by just popping up the remote desktop webpage, which I highly recommend that you do bookmark. And we're back within seconds. And you can control it just like you would with Spotify over your phone. You can click forward and back through songs. And if you ever get disconnected and you want to jump back in, bring up that page, and you're back in Spotify. A full-blown version. I'm not talking about some sort of web app where you can't search and the functionality is limited. You can absolutely do everything that you can imagine doing with your normal, traditional Spotify. Now let's take a look at how you can do it on your Tesla. Stream video on Netflix to our Tesla as well. So I'm just going to go ahead and navigate to netflix.com. Use the on-screen keyboard. All right, so I've already logged in, and now I can see whatever I would see normally on Netflix if I was just using a laptop or desktop computer. You can scroll through, launch shows, the video previews load just like they would at home. You may notice there's no audio, so I'll talk about how we can resolve that issue. But first, let's try to just launch and see how the video quality looks. As you can see, Netflix will not load. So what we'll need to do is actually use a VPN client to allow us to stream via Netflix. And I recommend using NordVPN. This is the one I'm currently using right here. It's really quick, easy to set up. So go ahead and check out tslaspot.com/VPN. Highly recommend it if you want to have Netflix in your vehicle. So now that I've activated my VPN, I go to launch the show. You can see it's currently getting past that part where it errored out earlier. It's still loading. And now we have Netflix playing on our Tesla. There's no audio, but we can use subtitles and get a pretty good experience. If you want to have audio on Netflix, I'd recommend using the Netflix app, downloading any of the content that you want to watch on your Tesla so it's local to your phone, so you're not using any of that data when you Bluetooth stream that audio from your Netflix app onto your Tesla. So you essentially be starting both streams at the exact same time to synchronize both the audio and video, fulfilling that holistic audio visual experience using Netflix in your Tesla. Let's try another show, Arrested Development. One of my favorites, although the newer seasons aren't so great. Just to show you more live action and how this frame rate actually looks on the Tesla. And I'm currently only at 2 bars on the LTE. So you can imagine how much better this will look once we are actually on a higher performance connection. So as you can see, very watchable. We can put it in full screen mode. Frame rate is pretty solid for something that's streaming directly to our Tesla right now. So Netflix is extremely watchable, especially if you're at a supercharger or if you're stuck in bumper-to-bumper traffic, there's a bad accident. Just pop this on, read the subtitles, and I guarantee you it's a lot better than playing Atari. All right, so that's Netflix on the Tesla. It will require the VPN, so once again, go ahead and navigate to tslaspot.com/VPN for a direct link to the one I'm using. And check out tslaspot.com for an end-to-end tutorial on how to set up this whole entire server step by step. From hosting to configuration, installing all the apps, configuring your server to make it more touchscreen Tesla friendly, and then hopping in the driver's seat and demoing how to connect to your Tesla and really get the most out of having that giant computer in your car.